let's talk about that feeling. You know the one. You've got this huge, amazing dream floating around in your head, but you just can't seem to get started. Well, guess what? You're not alone. In this explainer, we're going to get to the bottom of why this happens and give you a super simple toolkit to finally get things moving.
So think about it for a sec. What's that one big thing for you? Is it finally launching that business? Or maybe writing that book you've been thinking about forever? Maybe it's a creative project, like starting your own YouTube channel. Whatever it is, just get a clear picture of it in your head.
Okay, now let's be honest about the other side of this. Instead of actually working on that dream, you reach for your phone. You tell yourself it's just a quick scroll, but that turns into an hour, and poof, just like that, all that energy and motivation you had is completely gone. It's such a frustrating trap, isn't it? And here it is, laid out plain and simple. This is the gap that so many of us live in. On one side, you've got this incredible ambition, and on the other, there's the cozy, easy, passive reality of just scrolling. And it's in this space, this distance between our dreams and what we actually do, that all that frustration starts to build up.
You know, this feeling actually has a name, the lazy dreamer. Now, hold on, this is not a judgment. Think of it more like a diagnosis. It's for anyone who's got the vision, who can see the big picture, but kind of gets stuck in the dreaming and planning phase without ever making that leap to actually doing.
So why? Why on earth do we do this to ourselves? Is it that we're not passionate enough, or that we just don't have enough willpower?
Well, the answer is actually a lot simpler than you'd think, and it all comes down to a huge misunderstanding about how motivation really works.
And here this is the core myth that keeps us completely stuck. We are absolutely convinced that our confidence meter has to be full before we're allowed to start. We say things like, oh, I'll begin as soon as I feel more confident, just waiting for this magical feeling that might never show up on its own.
But here's the truth that just flips that whole script upside down. Confidence is not something you need to get started. It's something you get from starting. It's a result of taking action. You don't wait to feel brave, you just act, and through that very action, you become brave.
Okay, so if waiting around for confidence is the trap, how in the world do we get out of it? Let's shift gears and talk about the solution. Let's build a bridge to get us from just dreaming to actually doing something about it.
It all boils down to a pretty simple two-part framework. First, we've got to change the way we even think about starting in the first place. And second, we need a dead simple trick to force that very first step, no matter how much we don't feel like it.
All right, so this new mindset, it's all about embracing something I like to call messy action. This just means letting go of that crippling need for everything to be perfect and giving yourself permission to be a beginner again.
This means you have to completely ditch the idea of a perfect start. Your first video, your first chapter, that first business plan, I guarantee you, it's going to be flawed. And that's not just okay, it's absolutely necessary. Every single small, imperfect action builds momentum, and that momentum is what creates real, actual confidence.
This is the million-dollar question, right? I mean, it's one thing to say you'll accept imperfection, but it's another thing to actually do it. How do you beat that inertia when you're just staring at a blank page or that big red record button?
And that brings us to our practical tool. The key to starting isn't some giant burst of motivation. It's a tiny, almost laughably small commitment. So let me introduce you to the 2-minute movement rule.
2 minutes. Yep, that's it. It's such a tiny amount of time that your brain can't even really argue with it. It's probably less time than it takes you to scroll through a couple of posts online.
And this is the magic trick. You're not telling yourself, okay, I have to go write a whole chapter now. Nope, you're just saying, I'm gonna open the document and write one sentence. The goal is just to start. And what you'll find, more often than not, is that once you've started, continuing is the easy part. So here's exactly how you put it into practice. Don't think about starting a YouTube channel. Instead, think about opening a new document to brainstorm some video ideas. Then you set a timer for 2 minutes and you just go. When that timer goes off, you have full permission to stop, but I have a feeling you probably won't want to.
So, let's put this all together. When you combine this new mindset of messy action with the super practical 2-minute rule, you can actually start to engineer a real shift in who you are. This is the transformation. You stop being that passive dreamer who's always waiting for a feeling that never comes. Instead, you become the active doer, the person who builds real confidence and unstoppable momentum with every single small, messy step you take.
So here it is, your new toolkit. It's just 3 simple ideas. First, the core principle. Remember that action creates confidence. Second, the mindset. Embrace messy action. And finally, the tool.
Use that 2-minute rule every single time you feel stuck.
And that brings us to the final and really the most important question. Because this isn't just about learning something new, it's about doing something new. So I'll leave you with this. When this is over, what tiny, imperfect, 2-minute step are you going to take toward that big dream of yours?